years old, but they have a nation who have no history of theirs, they have no vision of theirs, they have just got one obsession to try and covet what does not belong to them. But what is surprising, ladies and gentlemen, is that such is their obsession that majority of their population may be in penury. They may be ravaged with floods. They may have no money in their bullion or in their reserves. They may be a pariah to most of the world, but they will still continue with that agenda and that obsession, and they will direct all resources and help that is coming actually to help the people of Pakistan towards propaganda against Bharat. What we are going to expose today here on this edition of The Right Stand is exclusive information that unmasks this entire toolkit that is now going to be pushed by Pakistan, not just by its intel agencies and their wings and their puppets, but even by the government. Oh, I forgot. Even the government is nothing but a quasi-puppet of their entire military establishment and the ISI. So, let's get into the details of this story. The exclusive here on this edition of The Right Stand, the entire aspect of epicenter of terror. This barb seems to have rattled Pakistan. Pakistan's Malign India plot is now out, and CNN News 18's expose is this evening on how Pakistan has launched a global campaign to malign India, this propaganda on social media, and right from the Prime Minister of Pakistan downward, everybody has been given just one single-minded objective. Even their embassies across the world, about 50 odd of them, have been asked to just start spreading fakery, lies, canards, and also propaganda against Bharat. So let's look at the details of this. What is this entire toolkit? They have launched a global campaign not just to malign India, but somewhere try and create a narrative that India needs to reverse abrogation of 370. Go back to what it was before and then talk about once again self-determination, etc., etc. Now, I don't want to get into the history because that entire UN doctrine itself first asked Pakistan to pull away all its troops from Pak-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. So, clause 1 and then only clause 2. Self-determination, DDC polls are happening, elections are happening, everything. So, let's not get into that. But this is what their propaganda is. Global propaganda to malign Bharat. That toolkit stands exposed to try and spread hatred and also misinformation spread by the Pak ministry itself, fakery spread by the Pak ministry and their political parties itself. 25 Pakistani embassies and consulates are also involved. Globally, this is what they are trying to do. Hashtag posts are being shared on official Pakistani handles, and maximum traffic online for this entire campaign is emanating from Pakistan. So this is not something that has not been witnessed in the past, where they try to misinform, misguide, and also try and keep changing addresses, and it's their entire machinery propaganda. But what stands out is this entire toolkit. So let's look at the details of the toolkit. What does this toolkit talk about? Let's look at it. Pakistan's propaganda on the 5th of January 2023. This is what they have identified, 5th of January, because 5th of August 2019, Jammu and Kashmir, Article 370 was abrogated. This is what they are saying, calling it the Kashmir Self-Determination Day. But it is not for Pak-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. What they are trying to do is, again, that narrative is only about what is an integral part of Bharat. So this is the first page. Let's try and look at what else is part of this document. It says, United Nations Security Council passed a historic resolution that the question of accession of the state of Jammu and Kashmir to India or Pakistan will be determined through democratic method of a free and impartial plebiscite. From this day, we are going to observe that. That is what they are writing in this detail. But they forget that on the 5th of Jan 1949, the first thing and the first condition was that Pakistan will move its troops outside, vacate this entire area, which they refused to do. So, and Jammu and Kashmir continues to remain an integral part of India. That is beyond any doubt or question. Now, several anti-India hashtags are propagating on social media to try and portray. Let's move to the next page. And this is the kind of narrative building that is happening on social media. And these are all being done deliberately under the aegis of the Pakistan government, led by the Pakistan Prime Minister himself. So, उनके चार सूबे संभलते नहीं, चले हैं हमारा कश्मीर लेने. That's exactly what is happening. They have no narrative of their own and they are just obsessing with this. And look at it. They have, but you have to hand it to them that their obsession is such that they have a full machinery and mechanism set there. Proper. You know, illegal properties of Jamaat-e-Islami, the Pak-backed organization, that is being raised and they are putting out saying that India is seizing the properties of the people of Kashmir. Look at the kind of narratives that they are trying to stitch. Global campaign. And also anti-India tweets by Pakistan to malign India. So all of this is happening, ladies and gentlemen. We've accessed the entire toolkit, what they're supposed to do. 12 out of 15 handles. And these handles mention their bio that they are either a part of social media team of the Pakistan People's Party. So you have political parties, PPP, PMLN, all of these are in government, they are all involved. So political parties, the government, the military establishment and their machinery is all busy doing this. Not minding their business and their nation, but trying to covet something that doesn't belong to them. So we've exposed this toolkit, ladies and gentlemen. Tejinder Sodhi getting us these details. Tejinder, so clearly a propaganda toolkit to try and malign Bharat. But more importantly, look at their obsession. They have no worry about their country. A country that they've tried to set up when they partitioned Bharat. They did it on the lines of religion. For 75 years, they have no narrative of their own. And all they are doing is coveting that doesn't belong to them. But still, they have no money. They are bankrupt. Their people are poor. All of this put on one side and their obsession with Jammu and Kashmir and their propaganda machinery on the other.
Anand, you summed up the entire history of 70 years history of Pakistan in just one word, that this Pakistan's obsession about Kashmir is never going to die until and unless Pakistan itself ceases to exist on the global map. You see, Pakistan is obsessed about Kashmir from the day one Kashmir, the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir became a part of Union of India when Maharaja Hari Singh, the erstwhile ruler of the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, signed the instrument of accession with the Union of India. So since then, people in Jammu and Kashmir have been living happily. But this is the neighboring country called Pakistan, which wants disturbance here. We saw Pakistan sending its army in the shape of tribals in 1947. We saw we had several wars with Pakistan, but every time Pakistan was defeated by the brave Indian army. Now you see Pakistan, which itself is a failed state, which is going from one country to another with a begging ball. Their top leadership, be it either they go to China or Saudi Arabia with a begging ball because they are at the verge of bankruptcy, but on the other hand, they are not leaving their obsession about Kashmir Valley. Now this toolkit, Pakistan once again stands exposed because Pakistan wants to create a false narrative about Kashmir, that people in Kashmir are not happy about when the Article 370 was abrogated. But in reality, one thing funny about this entire campaign which has been launched by Pakistan, that not a single tweet has come from the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. All these tweets, as you rightly pointed out, that the entire traffic is from Pakistan. So global community needs to see that the people in Jammu and Kashmir, they are living happily under the Union of India. They are peaceful. There is no a problem with the people of India. But Pakistan, why is Pakistan so obsessed that it has put its entire machinery, be it the Pakistan
because
Army,
they have nothing else to obsess about.
Foreign Affairs of Pakistan.
Tejinder, it's a simple fact that
yes,
they have nothing home to write about. They have nothing to talk about. Their government itself is a cobbled up opposition which has been propped up there by the military establishment after it booted out another government which was also propped up by the military establishment. It's the military establishment which has got no other propaganda. If the Prime Minister of Pakistan is tweeting what the ISI, DG, ISPR is putting out and telling them to do, then you can understand what individuality they have. They have no story about their own country to talk about. And what stands out is in this toolkit that a lot of these are members of PPP. That is Bilawal Bhutto's party.
Indeed, Anand, you see, not only the PPP but other political parties of Pakistan are also tweeting the same. They are being doing this on the behest of Pakistan Army. Even as you rightly pointed out, that around 50 Pakistan embassies and consulates across the globe, they are also retweeting all those hashtags which are being put out by those influencers, those social media influencers. But we are also told that these people, they have been given some money so as to put out these tweets with anti-India hashtags. But the world knows the reality, because now is a day when you can easily find out the IP address of those Twitter handles, and most of those Twitter handles are being operated from Pakistan. Not a single tweet. I was talking to some of my sources within the within the cyber security establishment. They are saying that they have not seen a single such tweet from the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, but the entire tweets are being put out either from Pakistan or from Turkey or those countries where you have so many Pakistanis living. Yes.
Right.
Anand.
Right, Tejinder, thank you for getting us this entire toolkit and putting it out, and this entire propaganda stands exposed. There is more. There is also the fact that Pakistan finds itself increasingly isolated. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Let's quickly go across to our guests. This is a major exposure here at CNN News 18. A pauper park trying to spending to Malign Bharat. This is what they do. They've got nothing else but propaganda left, and their obsession with what does not belong to them. But let's go across to our guests and take this apart and and look at it both there. Tuin Sinha of the BJP is with us. SP White Saab is there. Former DGP Jammu and Kashmir. Lalit Ambardar, Kashmiri activist, is there, and Lieutenant General KJ Singh, former GOC in Chief, Western Command. Namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Thank you very, very much. The point is that this is a cycle, and we know Pakistan's obsession, Lalit Ambardar. But what are we doing as a country to kill this propaganda, nip it all in the bud, and to send them back scurrying so that they never dare again?
Very rightly put. Anand, you have to know Pakistan is no ordinary or a normal country. It's an artificial geopolitical form which was created. How was it created? When millions of Indian-born millions, they betrayed their motherland on 14th of August 1947 in the name of Islam, in the name of Jinnah's two-nation theory, in the name of supremacy and exclusivity, and created Pakistan for themselves over the dead bodies of Hindus and Sikhs. And what has been our narrative till then? Their narrative since has been ladke liya hai Pakistan, haske lenge Hindustan. And on our part, we have been always going ahead, 2 steps ahead, trying to embrace them with a narrative like neighbor hai, badal nahi sakte. So that's the biggest ever compromise when you do in front of an adversary, when you first say that you are my neighbor, I have no option but to succumb. And Pakistan will continue to bleed us. It is their national policy. Is their national policy, because Islam is the only reason they can keep Pakistan consolidated with imploding Balochistan. The only way they can keep Pakistan in control is Kashmir, is India demonizing India, demonizing Hindus, defaming Hindus. But what is our response? We are trying to the whole world, Kashmir jihad is over. My governor is saying, oh, who is killing whom? They are not killing Hindus there. Look, the audacity of the brazen of the Kashmir jihad has become a hybrid war. We need to understand that. And instead of understanding what we have on hand in Kashmir, it's a military form, it's a jihad in hybrid war like everywhere else in the world. We are trying to give them a safe passage. My DGP of Kashmir is saying they're not killing Hindus just because they are Hindus. They are trying to defame. They are trying to defame the Muslims of Kashmir. And now see, they have entered into Rajouri. Yesterday, you saw the brazenness how they targeted Hindus in Rajouri. And my system, my governance is so insensitive towards the Kashmiri Hindus. They have been protesting for the first 6 months, and we are trying them. No, you will have to go and serve in the very places where you'll be killed in your offices, wherever you're working in our schools, but we'll stop your salary. And you know what? FATF was the only sword we had against Pakistan. I think Pakistan has got a green chit on because of us. We did not pursue the case. While as we keep on telling, we had a UN Security Council meeting in Mumbai on 26th of November. We showed it on through videography, showed the pictures, showed the graphs to the whole world, how Pakistan is mobilizing attacks on India, how Pakistan is infiltrating in Kashmir. And by the way, I want to tell you, Lashkar-e-Taiba and Hizbul Mujahideen and other terrorists, they are in thousands waiting in POK to be launched against India. They are preparing ground in Afghanistan. They are training grounds shifted to Afghanistan. And we are trying no, Kashmir is fine. Everything is fine. I think the local governors, which is the local BJP and local Karyakarta, they are doing everything that goes against the spirit of 5th of August 2019.
So you've been very strong in your,
unfortunately,
Lalitji, you've been very strong in your condemnation of what's happening in Jammu and Kashmir on ground. Somewhere there is also this aspect of trying to soft pedal and soft talk. And trying to play the softened thing because we tend to succumb to pressure, but they're saying, wo to sudrengi nahi, but do we have to be like that? But Tuhin Sinha, somewhere enough is something which happens. How dare they? They should not have the courage. See, but point is, Pakistan as a puny nation, which is just a small fragment of, in terms of size, economy, everything, in terms of all aspects, it's nothing. But it has got the gumption to try and pit itself vis-a-vis India. And that's why India is not able to rise in stature, and India gets caught in this and is not able to rise in stature and pit itself against China, because we also have 1/5 of the world's population. We are also growing. We are the fastest growing economy in the world. We have a story there, but we get stuck because we do not know how to sort this pest out.
Namaste, Anand. Anand, I would slightly disagree with you. Pakistan is an absolute, disgrace to the civilized world, which I have been saying, and which reports like the ones you have put out today only corroborate. So nobody on earth today takes Pakistan seriously, and one of the reasons why Pakistan is increasingly frustrated and is behaving like a psycho is because of two reasons. One, the disparity between the two countries, India and Pakistan, has grown manifold in the last few years, while we are well on course to achieving a $5 trillion economy with massive unprecedented investments in defense and green energy. Pakistan is on the brink of an economic disaster, unprecedented economic disaster. While they had become a colony of China way back, 10 years back, what is happening now is unprecedented. They just had to auction one of their embassy properties in the US. If they still go ahead with an anti-India agenda, I think only God can save a country like Pakistan from breaking into multiple parts, which is what its ultimate destiny is. The second reason why Pakistan is frustrated is that, unlike some of the previous governments, we have not fallen into the bait of, bailing them out with fake friendship treaties and by, with an alacrity to start negotiations once again. From early 2016 onwards, after we were betrayed with the Pathankot attack, we have maintained an arm's length distance and we have consistently ignored Pakistan. This is one of the reasons for their frustration. As far as their propaganda is concerned, nobody, like I said, nobody takes them seriously. But yes, the sad part is that when you talk about, the clause in the UN, when you talk about that clause, it is people like Kamal Hassan, it is people like Mehbooba Mufti who spread canards about India not respecting the UN treaty. So I think, as far as our government is concerned, we are equipped. I understand the pain of my Kashmiri friends. What has happened 3 days ago is extremely sad, and we are tightening up. In fact,
that is again, Tuhin, I'll tell you what. See, this is where somewhere it irks me as a country which is not just the fastest growing economy in the world, a country which is might. We've got the third largest army, if not the second. We are a nation which are robust and which we can hit back. But the point is, SP Vaid Saab, this hurts me that a country like, or an entity like America or a country like China can go halfway across the world and try and attack those people who are a threat to their sovereignty. Russia can go to war with the neighboring Ukraine and do it for 11 months and get away with it because there is a threat of NATO's threat to its sovereignty as it claims. But we cannot go and exterminate a few cockroaches right on our doorstep on what is sovereign integral territory. And we are dithering from it.
Anand, I completely agree with you. In fact, not only America and China can do this, their own Home Minister Sanaullah, I heard him yesterday saying when Afghanistan said that if you dare attack Afghanistan, we will retaliate. They have a problem with TTPs hitting them below their
Yeah.
belt, and they are mercilessly getting
सर वहां तो
killed.
तालिबान का डेप्यूटी प्राइम मिनिस्टर के ऑफिस में से एक ऑफिशियल ने तो ये कहा कि अफगानिस्तान से उलझोगे तो 71 रिपीट हो जाएगा. So the Afghans are using 71 and
Yes,
and embarrassing and putting Pakistan on the mat. We are not doing it.
That must have been most humiliating to Pakistan Army. That is the last thing they would have really appreciated. And Mr. Sanaullah said, we have, as per international laws and rules, we have right to hit if somebody threatens our security. Now, if their Home Minister Sanaullah is saying this, I think this applies to India also. If you are perpetuating cross-border terrorism in India and all last for so many years, so many deaths have taken place in India. India reserves its right to hit back, and I can't help but laugh at their obsession with Kashmir and with India. In fact, their own people are questioning the establishment in Pakistan that Kashmir बहुत हो गया, आपने हमें ruin कर दिया. Today, look at the complete Pakistan has been radicalized. Look at, in spite of that, people are questioning their own establishment. And look at what is happening in Balochistan, what is happening in KPK. It is at the kagar of getting disintegrated. But as you said, this toolkit, now coming to this point, see, we all know their establishment controls everything, including the prime minister, they decide who will become the prime minister, which political party will come to power, and Imran Khan will go aside. Now, all these are decided by this deep state, the establishment, and they decide the foreign policy, they decide the policy on Kashmir and India, and this is what all political parties are following. Now, they have been for last 30 years selling falsehood as truth, and we were not able to do. But now that in today India is changing, and I think the world doesn't trust them anymore, and I think our embassies can do much better work.
No, they are doing a sizable amount of work, but this is where what's up, and I'm going to bring in General KJ Singh. Look at the amount of energy we have to expend to quell a particular narrative that the enemy sets. So rather than trying to expend energies and waste time trying to counter their narratives, why can't we sort them out in such a way that वो फिर कभी कोई narrative का कीबोर्ड तक हाथ लगाने की हिम्मत नहीं करेंगे हमारे? कर सकते हैं हम, पर नहीं कर रहे हैं. क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं?
See, Anand, it's like this. This social media war is a very complex war. You're reminded of what Vajpayee Saab said once, that if you don't like a poem, you have to write a better poem. So we have to put in place we have a great social media strategy. I know this. We are working on that. But we need to ramp it up. And we need to take it from Jammu and Kashmir so that the message goes clear that the state is voicing these narratives. The stories are coming out from there. We are doing, but we need to do much more. And it's a constant fight. See, Anand, we have certain measures which we can put them out. We have cyber warriors. We have cyber warfare techniques. We can't speak about them. We should not speak about them. But we need to fight this because in Pakistan, there is a competition brewing. Army wants to find relevance. Political parties want to find relevance. They have their own fault lines which are exploding. So then the best thing is to turn the attention outwards. Get the nation to rally around a foolish cause. Foolish, but it can rally them around. So they will continue to prosecute this. It's a long-term problem which we have to deal with. not that we are dealing with it very badly. We are dealing with it quite effectively. I know of what is being done, and I can vouch for that. But all the same, it's a constant fight, and we have to get more hands on the deck from Jammu.
Sir, I'm just saying that we are far bigger than Pakistan. Pakistan needs to compare itself to a failed state in, in the Congo Basin or somewhere like that. Those are the failed states that Pakistan should actually look at it. Some of these African nations which are being run by dictators. That is the kind of state that Pakistan has to compare itself. It should not be taken in that name should not be taken in the same breath as Bharat. It should not be. And no matter what, the sorting out has to be in such a way they dare not. सर जो चूड़ियां पहन के इनको भेजा था ना पहनाकर 71 में, वो चूड़ियां वही रहनी चाहिए, वैसे ही रहने चाहिए. We have to keep reminding them that, and if that means every quarter there has to be a quarterly reminder to them and they need a whipping, we should give them a whipping. Because every time they try and reassemble, we should do one pest control. जैसा हमारे घरों में हम pest control हर क्वार्टर में कराते हैं ना सर. तो हमारा देश भी हमारा घर है, उसके आसपास का पेस्ट कंट्रोल भी हर क्वार्टर में करना पड़ेगा. जब तक वहां पर ये नहीं होता, देश से हम कश्मीर लेकर आएगा, पीपल आर लार्ड से हु वेयर पाकिस्तान, व्हाट पाकिस्तान, that day will also come. But till then, we need to be hard. We need to tell the world, listen, if you can protect your territory and your sovereignty, so can I. Why are we shirking from that? Lalit Ambardar wanted to say something. Lalit, yes.
Can I? Yeah, I just wanted to tell you, look, earlier Pakistan had only Kashmir centers in Belgium, London and America, a couple of them in America. After 5th of August 2019, every Pakistani embassy or high commission across the world has a Kashmir center. And do we have anything in response? Do we have any narrative that we can fight upon? Do we know that Kashmir is on the agenda of Pakistan? Ye mat sochiye that Pakistan is imploding, Pakistan is starving. Let me tell you, China and America will never ever allow Pakistan to sink because of its geostrategic importance. And till then they will keep on bleeding us. We are not having any narrative. We don't even say when did we last time talk about the genocide of Hindus and Sikhs in Pakistan? Never ever. We had CAA. When did we notify that? We haven't yet. And we don't even acknowledge what Kashmiri Hindus suffered because of Pakistan-sponsored, pan-Islamism-inspired, jihad-infested Kashmir jihad. They suffered genocide. My government,
we have not even opened.
Local government is telling no, it's not genocide.
Lalit Ambardar,
Yasin Malik is still living.
See, Lalit Ambardar is making a point to Insina. We are not going to town. We are not going to the world with a Hindu girl being skinned alive in Pakistan. A Hindu girl is skinned alive in Pakistan, and did we make a song and dance about it in the US of A? Did we put it out on the Times Square saying breaking news? This is what Pakistan. This is how Pakistan treats its minorities. When Raja Ranjit Singh was insulted, his statue was insulted. When the Gurdwara Sahib, the domes were broken, did we go to town and plaster it all over the world saying this is how Pakistan treats its minority? We're not even doing that with the Pashtuns, with the Baloch, to Insina. So where are we controlling the narrative?
Yes. Pashtuns and Baloch are begging
Anand,
for
we
our
have
support.
been raising these.
Okay. Yes, Twin.
Anand, we have been raising these issues consistently on the international fora. As the External Affairs Minister had recently said, the two things which define the two nations are IT. For us, it is information technology. For them, it is international terrorism. Yes, I mean, I agree with you that the ecosystem, our ecosystem across the world needs to be stronger to consistently raise these issues on the streets. But honestly, I think there are two approaches that you can live with. One is a positive approach where we have consumed ourselves with creating a certain, powerhouse out of India, which was unprecedented, so that the disparity between the nation is so grave that tomorrow Pakistan, despite whatever it tries, try to understand the situation. आज से 12-15 साल पहले क्या होता था? 2006 से 2008 के बीच हर महीने जो है एक बड़ा ब्लास्ट होता था, और उस समय ये लोग अपने आर्टिस्ट को पुश करते थे, क्रिकेट मैचेस पुश करते थे. There were people in large numbers who would overstay in India for 6 months. All that has stopped. So we have stopped the proxy measures, most of the proxy measures which they had been indulging in. Now if Pakistan continues to indulge in psychotic behavior, at the end of the day, nobody has the time to entertain them. They are wasting their time.
Correct.
With
Sir.
a begging
No,
call,
no,
they are going
they see,
across the
they
world.
may
But
be
yes, at the same time, simultaneously, they are abusing India over Kashmir. But this morbid or lecherous obsession of Kashmir is what has failed them. And if they still don't realize it, God save the country from being ripped apart.
No,
into
sir,
five different
I'll tell
parts.
you what.
But having said that, let me.
Ji, please complete. Please complete.
Yeah.
Please complete. Coming, sir. Coming.
No, see, there is if you look at a historical perspective, somewhere around the time when they started this proxy war towards the late 70s, after their defeat in 1971, when they realized they could not compete with India in a conventional war, somewhere we do feel, I know nothing can be done about it, but when we were releasing 93,000 troops, somewhere the bargain could have been, bigger. We could have
there is. See, we will digress, and there is a huge amount of political history because the nations that stood with Pakistan at that time were US and China. The nations that stood with India were Russia, and there was a huge amount of geopolitical pressure exerted. But unfortunately, we were not standing on our feet because our ordnance factories were shut. Our army was not given the kind of punch and power that it should have been.
That is what we had changed.
And there was a pullback. But despite all the adversities, we were 32 kilometers from Lahore. There is no reason why we should have given back all that territory. We should have been right there, breathing down those very terror factories and wiping. I'm saying let's not go back into the past. What are we doing now is my question. My simple question is, what are we doing now? Sir, narrative war. Sir, more than 250 temples of heritage. 250 temples of heritage have been destroyed by the Pakistanis in the last 70 years. Have we made a song and dance about culture and history being destroyed? Have we made a song and dance about the people, about the number of Sikhs whose cash has been held by the hand and then it is chopped off, or their heads have been chopped off? Have we made a song and dance about the way minorities are being treated and the situation and the status of minorities? Have we even made a song and dance about how the Baloch are being trampled upon? How the Pashtuns have been? I keep asking you this, sir. This is a narrative war.
I agree with you.
It's a narrative war. Sir, the narrative war is changing. But is it enough that if only a Subramaniam Jaishankar turns the narrative?
Prime Minister Modi was the first Prime Minister to declare his open support for Balochistan way back in 2015. But having said that, I agree, the effort has to be consistent and at all pervasive at different levels. Anand, if you just allow me 15 seconds more, the kind of defense and economic powerhouse that India is becoming, that is our answer to Pakistan for the long term. They will shudder to, compete with us. If they still don't realize it, they will break apart into 5 different nations, which is a reality which you and I will see during our lifetime.
Sir, with all humility, I would say, I do not understand geopolitics, foreign policy. I do not understand as much as the collective wisdom of the panelists here. But I understand one thing, sir, that I have to be muscular and robust enough, and I have to just punch once, just to tell the other person, don't mess with me. If I keep my hands down and if I continue to be benign, they will continue to punch. Sir, nobody stops you from being muscular and hitting hard when somebody dares to threaten you. But you have to have a posture where nobody dares to take panga with you. Do we as a nation have that thing? Sir, why? China also respects might. Every nation respects might. Are we flexing our muscle enough?
Anand, 10 seconds, boss.
Yes, Lalit Ambardar, and then I've got to share something. Yeah. And then
it's not just against Pakistan. Whatever understanding I have about the global jihad, let me tell the nation through you. Listen, day is not far off when you will hear from Radio Pakistan, ye Radio Pakistan, Emirate Islamia Pakistan hai. Because Taliban are going to take over Pakistan. There's a war between Shalwar Kameez wearing generals and Whiskey Club in GHQ Rawalpindi. The day Shalwar Kameez wala will take over, you will have Taliban right on your western border, all along LOC.
Sir,
are we waiting for that?
Fundamentalist radicals.
We say Kashmir Jihad is not a war. Kashmir Jihad is a military problem. You cannot reverse it by going for elections. You cannot reverse it by trying to win the hearts of the people who are against you. Mehbooba Mufti and Omar Farooq Abdullah, they are the face of Pakistan in Kashmir. Have you ever heard them raise a word against Pakistan? And we are trying to go for election, and these guys are going to be participating in the election.
See, the point is, sir, no, Lalit Ambardar, see, internally, sir, internally, Lalit Ambardar ji, let's, I know we all have a lot of things to say. I don't want, please, there are two ways to look at this problem. I agree with you that nearly 20% of the vote share is going to fundamentalist radicals in Pakistan. So when you say the GHQ whiskey drinking Rawalpindi who also wines and dines with the actresses, those hypocrites, versus the salwar wearing generals, there is a story there, and you have a point there. But internally, sir, there is an aspect that you make such elements, give them a free run, you make them so redundant in the public discourse, the public rejects them. We need to take heart from the fact, sir, that contrary to 2008, 2009, 2010, today, when this propaganda was unleashed by the Pakistanis, not a single tweet or post has come from Jammu and Kashmir. It's all come from the Pakistani political parties and the ISPR, ISI mouthpieces. That's how the narrative needs to be killed at home. But globally, these people need to be taught a lesson, is what I am saying. Vaid Saab and General KJ Singh, coming to you in just a bit. Sir, please yield. I have limited time. I just want to cover some ground. Sir, it's not all doom and gloom, ladies and gentlemen. There is a lot that's happening. Pakistan has also become a laughing stock globally. Globally. Terroristan, a globally laughing stock because diplomatic isolation has happened. India has called out Pak-sponsored terrorism. UN economic distress, at the UN, there is huge economic distress. Even the bullion that they have today does not belong to them. It belongs to IMF, Saudi Arabia and China. Pak's forex falling to a precarious level. Then 8-year low in domestic crisis. 8-year low in domestic crisis. Allegations of corruption on the Sharia. Every person is corrupt in Pakistan. Every person in government and in the military is accused of corruption. Diplomatic isolation has happened. US report claims Pak tops the list of nations at risk. Pakistan's external debt is $130.433 billion. That's the World Bank is saying by 2021. And high-handedness by the Pak army within the country is not going down well. People have had enough of this. Plus, Pakistan-Afghanistan plan going awry. Clashes in the Quetta border. Pakistan facing severe energy and electricity crisis. And residents suffering as power cuts for up to 14 hours at times. They didn't have proper vaccines for COVID. They did not have kits. They did not even know how to help their people from floods. That's the sort. They can't even assure them fishing rights because the Chinese trawlers are now in Pakistani waters, ladies and gentlemen. That's their status. And then the foreign minister called them out.
I think epicenter is a very diplomatic word because this is a country which has attacked the Parliament of India some years ago, which attacked the city of Mumbai. If you control your sovereign space, which I believe they do, if the terrorist camps operate in broad daylight in cities with recruitment and financing, can you really tell me that the Pakistani state doesn't know what's going on?
Is it enough if Mr. Subramaniam Jaishankar leads this turning around of the narrative, General KJ Singh, or does more need to be done?
See, Anand, I follow Pakistan media very closely. I interact with their think tanks. The sense I get is that in Pakistan itself, now increasing voices are coming up. People are asking, look what India is doing and where are we? What kind of mess we have got into. I follow their TV debates and I hear that. So, if like what Tuhin is saying, if we remain positively focused, we have to have a core group which is taking care of social media. But we should not expend undue energy on that and lose the momentum of our economic development. That has to go on, and soon a time will come when everybody in Pakistan will say, what the hell? See what is happening. Already people are talking.
Sir.
The Prime Minister across the Red Cliff line. See.
Sir, with due respect, General K, I'm running out of time. One sec. Sir, with due respect, I have to wind up. I'm just trying to say, we've got news coming. No, we've got news coming. If we use our might, the tip of the little finger, that's the extent of the effort that we need to focus in trying to kill this narrative war. The rest of it can focus on building the India story. But we also need to tell nations, don't mess with us. You mess with us, we will put you down, not just on the mat, we will exterminate you. you will hurtle towards extinction. So don't mess with us. That's the simple message we just need to send as Bharat. If we need to have a story of Amrit Kal, we also need to tell nations, don't mess with us. Don't try and spoil our journey. Don't try and become hurdles on our on the road that we traverse, because we will crush you. That message as Bharat has to go out to the world, sir. We have to be a little brutal on that aspect. Not that we want to hurt nations. We are just telling them, don't come in our way. This is a Bharat juggernaut. Don't come in our way. That message has to go out. I've just got news coming through. I thank you all. Big news. This is again from Pakistan, where the fight between the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and the Pakistan forces has just gone up a notch, where Pakistan forces have started operations. They have launched airstrike at TTP strongholds in the Nangarhar province. Sources have confirmed a firefight at the Torkham border between Taliban and Pak military. Pakistani officials saying that there is shelling that was started by the Taliban forces, and as a result, an Afghan citizen has been killed. A Pakistani officer has been wounded. In another operation, armed forces killing 11 Tehreek-e-Taliban cadre in an IBO in Tanai, South Waziristan, and this happened today. And according to sources, most wanted high-level operational TTP commander Hafizullah alias Toor has been eliminated. Pak Air Force carrying multiple reconnaissance and target identification flights along the Pak-Afghanistan international border, although they stayed within the Pakistan boundary lines and the Pakistan airspace. Both manned and unmanned assets were put into place. So clearly there is an escalation that is happening on the western borders and the western frontier in Pakistan, and this is only going to escalate because the Taliban will not take it lying down. The Afghan-Pakistan equations will sour, and of course there will be retaliation and the reaction that will come from the TTP and BLA, who claim to have exacted the maximum amount of casualties on the Pak forces in 2022. I thank all our guests, and with that update we're going to take a very, very short break. When we come back, it's an accident which increasingly looks like the motive to save life was absent. In the quest for justice for Anjali, we ask, shouldn't the accused be tried for murder? Should they not be charged with that heinous crime of taking a life because they didn't save it? Stay with us.
Heavy winds, slick roads and crashing waves. A rescue operation was launched to save the family, but looking at the condition of the car, it became difficult to believe if there were any survivors. But all four were conscious and alert when rescuers arrived. All the survivors suffered musculoskeletal injuries, and 2 adults were airlifted to the hospital.
Sharing a picture of his bruised face on Instagram, Hollywood actor Jeremy Renner thanked his fans from his hospital bed as he continues to recover from 2 surgeries. The Hawkeye actor was critical after he got injured after clearing snow from his driveway very close to his home on New Year's Day. And star footballer Cristiano Ronaldo has joined the Saudi Arabian club Al Nassr. The 37-year-old signed a 2.5-year deal with the club for a reported sum of 200 million euros. Ronaldo is most likely to make his debut for Al Nassr on the 5th of January. His contract at Manchester United was terminated mid-season after his explosive interview with Piers Morgan. Now, the car collision has come to light from Delhi's Dwarka area, where a car reportedly rammed into another vehicle at a red light. A case has been registered against the car owner, who also happens to be an assistant sub-inspector of the Delhi police. 6 vehicles, including a PCR van, were damaged during the accident. Further investigation is underway. 5 guards were injured after a brawl broke out in Shah Jahan Road in Delhi.
A major scuffle broke out between guards and vendors at Delhi's Shah Jahan Road. 5 security guards were reportedly injured after the incident. The visuals of the clash went viral on social media. The fight broke out after the private security guards didn't allow them to sell eatables, as the India Gate stretch is a no-vending zone. Later, an NDMC truck started loading the materials. The agitated vendors began pelting construction materials and sticks at the guards and refused to remove their kiosks. Delhi police has now registered a case and an investigation is currently underway.
In a shocking incident, a drunk man urinated on a female passenger in the business class of a New York-Delhi Air India flight on the 26th of November. Air India has filed a police complaint. They've constituted an internal committee to investigate the matter. The said passenger has now been banned from flying with Air India for 30 days or till the decision of the internal committee. The Jain community staged a nationwide protest after the Hemant Soren-led government decided to turn two holy sites, the Parasnath Parvat and the Tirthraj Samed Shikharji, into an eco-tourism spot. The Samed Shikharji is one of the biggest pilgrimage destinations for the Jain community. Meanwhile, sources have told CNN News 18 that the central government will soon address this issue. The Madhya Pradesh police have raised a hotel of suspended BJP leader Mishri Chand Gupta in Sagar, who's also accused of murder.
A five-story hotel which belonged to suspended BJP leader Mishri Chand Gupta was razed by Sagar district administration. A special team from Indore blasted 60 dynamites to demolish the hotel after 12 hours of hard work. The building turned into rubble within seconds. About 80 kilograms of gunpowder and 85 gelatin rods were used to demolish the building. The district administration said permission was taken for a two-story shopping complex, but a five-story hotel was built and was being operated. The move came after a public outrage over Jagdish Yadav murder case. Jagdish Yadav was allegedly crushed to death by an SUV on December 22. His family members accused Mishri Chand Gupta for murdering Yadav.
In a heroic move, a head constable in Bengaluru climbed 30 feet to rescue a crow that was stuck on a hoarding frame. Apparently, the crow got trapped in a manja mid-air. In fact, the rescue video not only turned Suresh into a social media hero, but he also earned appreciation from several quarters, including from Karnataka Home Minister Aragha Gyanendra. A man's quick thinking saved a woman's life in Pratapgarh.
A major tragedy was averted in Uttar Pradesh's Pratapgarh. A woman was trying to overtake a truck in a market area, but lost her balance and was about to collide with the truck. A man who was standing by quickly reacted and pulled her out of the clutches of death. The woman suffered some minor injuries. The whole incident was captured on CCTV camera and the video is now viral on social media. Netizens are praising the man for his quick thinking and saving the life of this woman.
A shocking accident was recorded on CCTV in Bagha district in Bihar.
A hair-raising accident from Bihar was recorded on camera. The incident is from Bagha district in Bihar. A man was trying to cross the road while speaking on phone with someone, but he was not aware that a car was also speeding towards him at this moment. The car later hits the man, who fell about 15 meters away from the spot. Whole incident was recorded on a CCTV camera. The man was later rushed to the hospital, where he is in critical condition.
An Indian origin kabaddi coach was shot dead in the Philippines capital Manila. The incident occurred when an unidentified assailant barged into his home. 43-year-old Gurpreet had gone to Philippines around 4 years back to earn his livelihood. Following the reports, the victim's family from Punjab has now demanded the government to bring back his mortal remains.
There is fresh CCTV footage that has emerged in this entire case of the Kanjavla accident, the death of Anjali. This is the accused parking the grey Baleno. There are 4 people waiting. This person in the white shirt is actually waiting for them. They all get out and you can see, you can count 1, 2, 3 and there is somebody at the wheel, the 4th person who also steps out. So there is that person who's coming out from that side. And they all leave the car there, hand it over to one of the other person who's added now into the list of accused, and then they take an auto and flee the place. There are all these people who are walking around and you can see the damage to the vehicle here. Now, can you believe that these people who have called ahead and said there has been an accident did not know they dragged somebody, a 23-year-old, dragged a human being for more than 12 kilometers? So, this is exactly what they are doing. This is happening somewhere around in the wee hours, around 4 a.m. or post that. This is what happens. After this, after the car owner has been absconding. His name is Ashutosh. Now, the question that we are asking as you look at these pictures, ladies and gentlemen, that why isn't that they shouldn't be tried for murder? Now, the cops are turning around and saying, and the special CP says there is no motive. Let's quickly look at the reasons why we believe, and we are asking the question, that why shouldn't they be tried for murder, or should they not be booked under 302? The car, so accused drove the car for nearly 12 kilometers and despite knowing that she was stuck. They knew this because that's what Nidhi says, usko pata tha, wo chilla rahi thi, and it's a Baleno, and all of us know if something sticks to the tire, you would know there is something amiss. It's a 23-year-old and a woman or a person who's being dragged and you did not know. Reason 2, accused caught on camera inspecting the Baleno from behind. They've been caught on camera having a look. So did they actually know what was happening, or were they just driving around just so that they could lose the body and then make their escape? Accused called up Ashutosh and informed him about the accident. तो उसको पता है ठोक दिया किसी को मारा है, but they didn't know that they were dragging somebody. Then Anjali shouted for help. That's what Nidhi has said. The accused knew that she was stuck because she was shouting, banging, "Mujhe koi nikalo," and they didn't know. Soon after the accident, at that time also the music was so loud. Delhi police confirms 2 more accused involved in the crime, so it's now 7 people. The accused tried to tamper with evidence is also what the cops are saying. Then they are also saying that not just Nidhi, but even the accused statements are contradictory, and the person on the wheel did not have a license, so they changed the name of the person who was on the wheel. Now, given all of this, should they not be tried for murder? And the reason why we ask this, because the cops are saying they don't have motive, but did they have the motive to save life? They may not have had the motive to kill or a reason because they didn't know each other. But the absence of a motive to save a life, what does that tantamount to? Let's ask former CP Delhi SN Srivastav ji, Yogita Bhayana, women's rights activist, and Aishwarya Mudgil, lawyer, also with us. Namaste. Thank you very much. Srivastav ji. So you need a motive to kill. But if you didn't want to save a life, then what does that tantamount to?
See, these are still, 3-4 days have passed, and the investigation is progressing. As you see, every day some fresh facts come to light. So at this stage, what I would say is that since Section 304 have already been applied, let the investigation go further and find out whether there is a motive or not. Because this requirement of motive is necessary to prove the charges under Section 302, the murder. But I will not be in a haste to decide whether it's 304 or 302 should be applied. Let the investigation progress.
Sir, you are a man of lot of experience, so I'll ask you a question. As the former CP of Delhi, you think the cops have done their job? Secondly, it's a Baleno. Is it possible that those who are on the wheel and inside the car didn't know that there is a human being under the chassis?
Yes, I am pretty sure, and from the CCTV footages, it is very clear that they knew, maybe not immediately, but later on, that they are dragging a woman. So this knowledge was definitely with them, that they are dragging a woman. So 304 is definitely attracted. They know that with this kind of action, if they drag a woman, she will die. So 304 is made out. There is no doubt about it. Now, as regards the question of whether the cops have done their job, as regards investigation, they are doing a good job. Still, a lot of investigation is going to continue. So at this stage, I am pretty satisfied with the investigation that is going on. Yes.
No,
I had on air, I had said that as regards the response was lacking. So they need to improve upon the response. But as regards the investigation, they are on the right track.
No, my only thing is in this CCTV footage that's been accessed today, Aishwarya Mudgil, there is a person who's actually waiting for the car to be driven in. He then turns around, walks around the car, gets into this seat, the passenger seat, and then that car is again driven off or moved away. And the others get off the car and then they take an auto and go away. My question to you is, cops would say there has to be a motive to kill somebody. But if the motive to save a life is absent, then what does that attract? Is that also not murder?
So Anand, first let me be clear, motive is not an essential ingredient of crime. Crime in simple legal terms is that there is an act and there was an intention to commit that act. So as long as there is an act which has resulted in death, they very well knew and I think this will be clearer when the investigation happens. The fact that they went in an auto, the fact that they escaped, the fact that someone else came on wheel, this shows that there was some sort of an idea, an inkling that, you know, we have gone wrong somewhere. At the same time, you know, it's very difficult to conceive, and I mean, investigation can, you know, reveal more details, but it's very difficult to accept the fact that there is a woman hanging like that, you know, beneath your car, and you have no idea. You know, there's a 21-year-old woman who's being dragged, and you have no idea that a woman is there, right? How loud could have been the music? Even if the music was loud, the ride itself would have made you uncomfortable, because it's not possible. You cross a small speed breaker, and even then, even if you cross a small stone, right, you will feel that there is some sort of a bumpy ride. It's very difficult to conceive that they didn't know that
there
there
is
was
something
a person
pulling at your wheel. There is something stuck on your chassis.
Exactly.
And you didn't know.
Exactly, it's very difficult to you know,
and no matter how much
accept.
there may be issues to try and fault Nidhi as an eyewitness or accusations of she's a plant. When she said that she was shouting, Anjali was shouting and banging and screaming, "Koi mujhe bachao." आपकी गाड़ी को कोई टक भी करता है, आपको पता लगता है there is somebody stuck and they're shouting, and that is the मौका वारदात. When the incident happened, Yogita Bhayana, how can these brutes not be tried for murder, and how can these brutes be given any benefit of doubt?
I think these brutes should definitely be tried for murder, and not only tried for murder, brutal murder, and they should definitely go for capital punishment. We've been asking for other cases also. Unfortunately, this country is very stingy when it comes to giving capital punishment, because they think women are nobody and they're just vote banks, and you know, this is what happens every night. You know, these are the stories which are surfacing. I am pretty sure I'm laughing at the cops. I have no other choice but to laugh at them. Even a 2-year-old will say that. So I think there is a larger conspiracy. I would definitely say that they are trying to, including the police. It's a big nexus. You will get to know later. But if the fair trial has been, will be done, or if there is an SIT or CBI on this.
No, because see,
otherwise
the cops,
we will lose all the hopes.
No,
we have lost
I
it in
know,
the
I
future,
know
in
you
the
are
past,
somebody who's talking out of a lot of despair and angst because of a lot of other cases also that you've been involved with. But I'm going to request you, Yogita Bhayana, to just be a little dispassionate and see. One aspect they say is that they have lost critical evidence that's been lost. The other thing is that the incident, when the accident happened, there is no video footage of that. So you have to rely on the perhaps versions that are coming from the accused, and also the only person the cops are calling as an eyewitness, that is Nidhi.
Interrogated, Anand, have they interrogated the boys? They were checked in together. They have not come out with any answer. Have they really done narco test on these? They should ask permission. How this girl has surfaced after 3 days. After so much of pressure, the CCTV footages are coming out. I have worked very intensely in this particular area, in this particular patch where she was found. I had worked in the village Jaunti for a couple of years. So I really know the whole scenario back of my hand. So I can really say that, knowing that this was an isolated patch, it is a very crime prone area. How could they have so many loose ends? I mean, all the patrolling, all the policing is for Latian zone. Is it that? Or when you know this is a place where crime occurs every now and then, it is not that it has happened for the first time. I have dealt 4 similar cases from that particular belt. Similar cases, rape and murder. Here, okay, we rule out sexual assault, but the kind of brutality, you cannot say that it is just sheer accident. Anybody, as I said, even a 2-year-old child will not even agree to it.
It is hard
How
to
can
believe.
they just be, you know, so?
It is hard to believe it's a sheer accident, but somewhere, SN Srivastava, do you believe that there is a certain reluctance to try and actually hold the bull by the horns in this case?
You see, law or investigation is not based on emotions. When we are carrying out the investigation, you have to basically base your entire story or entire findings on what facts have come out.
Right.
In fact, I would say that I would like that all the 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, they be hanged. But my liking doesn't matter.
It is what you can.
What I have to do is I have to prove before a
court.
I have to prove before a court of
Ji.
law
Ji.
that we have this evidence against them for such charges, such offences.
Srivastav ji, I've run out of time. I would just, sir, I have to interrupt, but the cops have promised a very strong charge sheet. So we'll see if they live up to that task. Thank you very much. I have to wind up on that note. Zaka is ready with brass tacks.
Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. After the horrendous story of an elderly woman who was peed upon by a fellow passenger on a New York-Delhi flight, now there is a shocking second instance. This happened 10 days later on the 6th of December. This was again on Air India, a Paris-Delhi flight. Today, the DGCA has issued a show-cause notice to Air India, and that too a full month later. The crew are currently being questioned. There's also a lookout notice against this deviant passenger who's been identified as Shekhar Mishra, who works for a multinational company based out of Mumbai. But the question, and there are many questions, the behavior of the crew on board, the behavior of the airline itself, should they not be held accountable? Because at the end of the day, you have paid money, good money, for a business class ticket on India's leading carrier, and here's what you get in return. We're getting some breaking news. The Delhi police is currently questioning two of the crew members on that flight of Air India who are on board that plane. This was the New York-Delhi flight on the 26th of November. They are asking questions about the incident, the nature of the response from the Air India crew. Sources say that the Delhi police has written to the concerned authority and also issued a lookout circular against the prime accused, the deviant passenger Shekhar Mishra, as he's not joining the police investigation. Anvit Srivastav is joining us live with more details. Anvit, what exactly is the Delhi police seeking to ascertain from the crew who are being currently questioned?
See, Zaka, in this case, at least two of the Air India crew members have been called for questioning at the IJ police station in New Delhi, and they are being questioned to basically to ascertain the sequence of events, that what happened, what led to this incident. They would also try to know the behavior of the man who is in question here, for whom the teams have been sent out. He's absconding right now, is what the police believes, and we have spoken to senior officers. They have said they're close to nabbing him. He has been booked under section 304, 354, 509, and aircraft rules as well. These people are actually being questioned to find out whether this man was at fault, what did he do, how much alcohol was served to him, because was it a violation of aircraft rules that was more alcohol served to him, because that is what this complainant, who is a Karnataka-based septuagenarian, 72-year-old woman, she has alleged that he was given more alcohol than a passenger can be served on board. So all these things are being they are finding out all these things, and more and more people from the aircraft crew as well as from those who handled the situation on ground when the aircraft had landed, they also eventually being called at the police station to record their statement.
All right, the manner in which the crew handled this, I think that is what has been appalling. As bad as, you know, the experience or the ordeal that this lady, this elderly woman had to go through, I think it was compounded by the utter insensitivity in the manner in which the crew handled this incident. Let me bring you up to speed with what exactly happened. This incident happens on the 26th of November 2022. 2 days later, she writes to the Tata Group as well as, of course, to the police, and narrating this ordeal. She says that he exposed himself, he unzipped his pants and urinated on me. She goes on to say, my clothes, my shoes and my bags were completely soaked in urine. The flight staff, she says, refused to touch these items that are soaked in urine. What I did was to ask for a change of seat, and I was told that none was available. I was then asked to return to the soiled seat by the crew about an hour later. The crew, in fact, subsequently brought the offending passenger before me against my wishes. And then she goes on to say that she was made to negotiate with the perpetrator of this horrific incident. Subsequently, she also asked Air India for some kind of reimbursement, some kind of compensation. Air India, in turn, told her no, they are not liable and they won't be able to pay her any money. Instead, that she should ask the passenger concerned to compensate. This is her complaint. This was written the day after this incident happened, this absolutely perverse incident happened. And this man, by the way, Shekhar Mishra, he's been identified as a resident of Mumbai, is still out there scot-free. So I want to open the call lines tonight on Brass Tacks, and you call us, because we're seeing one after another these instances of absolutely unacceptable behavior that's happening on board different aircraft. In this case, Air India on the 26th of November, and again a second incident of an individual, a passenger, peeing on the blanket of a fellow passenger, and that happened 10 days later. So go ahead, call us. 01204341895 is our number. I'm going to open this up to our guests first. Dr. Mahesh Reddy is chairman of the National Council on Air Passengers and Director General at ILFI. Vipul Saxena is an aviation expert. Sanath Kaul is chairman of the International Foundation for Aviation and will be joined in a moment by Chandrasekhar Nene. He's the former CIO of Jet Airways. Let me start with you, Dr. Mahesh Reddy. The point is that it is appalling at two levels. At the level of the cabin crew, the manner in which they handle this is absolutely unacceptable. And then, of course, at the level of the airline itself, what was Air India doing? But first, I want to deal with the cabin crew. Look at the ordeal that this lady has narrated. She has said, all I ask for is a change of seat, and they refuse to give me one, saying there isn't any. We believe, and this is there in subsequent media reports, that there were first-class seats available. Air India just did not want to compensate her by giving her a first-class seat. So, Dr. Reddy, what action needs to and can be taken against the staff, against the cabin crew, whose behavior, whose handling of this episode was absolutely appalling?
Well, Jaka, definitely this deplorable action on the part of this unruly passenger is, it's totally, shame on the air passenger community itself. And on the part of airline, I'm sure, having kind of observed, having taken the review of the situation, what is going on, definitely they would have responded proactively rather than, waiting for these situation to kind of get into this level. And yes, when particularly this kind of, what is going on after observing the crew, at least it would have been a minimum courtesy on their part to provide the appropriate seat.
Exactly.
Rather than getting that, the passenger into a crew member's, a seat, etc. That is one. And the second part, even on the kind of airline, I'm quite, shocked. Even after 7 weeks, of course, they might be kind of going ahead with following the procedures, etc. Given the kind of privacy of the passenger ABC, but that's not the answer. It should have kind of, the passenger, the victim passenger should have been responded to at the very first level. And secondly, even letting the passenger, out of this airport or whatever, or the airline itself is something, it should answer, the airline should answer several questions.
Absolutely. I want to ask Vipul Saxena this. On the role of the airline itself, two things. One, the fact that Air India let this deviant passenger get away. He should have been arrested the moment this flight touched down in Delhi. And secondly, the fact that Air India, this incident happened on the 26th of November, the police complaint was registered only on the 28th of December. That is absolutely unacceptable. You can't wait for 1 month for whatever your internal committee inquiry or whatever it is before registering a police FIR. This is a crime. The police need to investigate this. Vipul Saxena.
Absolutely. I would hold Air India management fully responsible for this cover-up, because the guidelines are very, very clear. There is a civil aviation requirement circular of May 2017, which lays down the way an unruly passenger has to be handled, in which it is clearly mentioned that such passengers are to be deftly handled and ensured that other passengers are not disturbed, Their dignity is not compromised. Their safety is not compromised. And it's clearly said that in case there is a requirement, the aircraft can be diverted to the nearest airfield. So it is taken as a very serious matter. And thereafter, the CR goes on further the procedure that such matter should be reported by the cabin crew and captain within 12 hours of landing
Yes.
to the DGCA and also to the management, and then airline through their internal committee should dispose of this matter, investigated and completed within 10 days, and take necessary action. While in this case, this incident took place on 26th of November,
Yeah.
and because Air India tried to hush up